Today, I'm getting a full body DEXA scan to measure my lean body mass, percentage of body fat, and a number of other things I probably won't understand. The reason I got this scan is because I'd like to measure how much body fat I can lose through a science-based fasting regimen. So I was doing some research and I came across two really interesting studies on something I'd never heard of before called alternate day fasting, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can eat as much as you like within a 12-hour window on day 1, and then abstain from eating the remaining 36 hours until you complete day 2. Repeat these steps over and over until your fast is complete. In both studies, subjects who did alternate day fasting saw greater fat loss compared to control groups who did traditional calorie-restricted diets. And subjects who were already in decent health also saw improvements in their overall cardiac health. Neither study found any negative side effects, but do call for additional study, and of course, you should consult a doctor before taking on any fast that lasts longer than 24 hours. So my goal this month is to give alternate day fasting a try for 30 days and then get a follow-up scan to see if it had any positive effects on my fat loss and contrast that with any perhaps negative consequences in reduction of muscle mass or any other changes to my overall health. That is, of course, assuming I make it the next 30 days. I start by putting away any food that's displayed inside my kitchen, so there are no visual cues to remind me to eat. As a safety precaution, I'm going to be watching for trouble signs like fatigue, dizziness, or headaches, which could indicate malnourishment. And I'll be monitoring my weight every 7 days to make sure I'm not dropping pounds at an alarming pace. My next step is to make it through day 1 without breaking. So I've written out an ambitious to-do list to keep myself occupied, hopefully leaving less time to think about how hungry I'm getting. Also, since I'm not taking a lunch break, I figure I have extra time. When day 2 arrives, I have between 7 and 7 to eat. Because I want to be continuing my weight training and running through this process, it's really important I'm getting the most out of each meal. So I'm starting today with a breakfast of scrambled eggs and tofu for a high source of protein, and I'm going to be serving that on multigrain toast with a side of brown beans. After breakfast, I meal prep a quinoa salad with broccoli and sweet potato, so I have a healthy source of carbs, protein, and vitamins for my second of 4 meals today. On days that I can eat, I want to push myself as hard as I can with these workouts because I expect on fasting days I won't have the energy to do nearly as much. When day 3 arrives, I'm able to get a short run and workout in first thing in the morning while my body still feels full from the previous day's eating. So I am 1 week in, and so far things are going pretty well. I have lost 5 pounds, which I know is mostly water weight at this point, but even though going without food for a day isn't fun, I found it to be pretty manageable. I usually get my worst hunger cravings between 6 to 8 p.m., but by that point I'm on the home stretch, and I know food is coming in the morning, so I usually have that knowledge to just persevere, drink some water, drink some tea, and keep going. Another thing I've noticed on fasting days is a significant boost in mental energy. Even though I'm less physically active on days I'm not eating, I find I'm able to stay alert and concentrate well into the evening, despite cutting my coffee drinking down by more than half. And I don't want to guess the reasons why so many studies have found positive benefits from fasting that go beyond just fat loss. But I will say a prominent hypothesis among researchers is that the answer lies somewhere in humans' long history as hunter-gatherers. See, many millennia ago, times were harsh. And with food supplies limited, our ancestors depended on a diet of literal feast and famine. And that period still represents the overwhelming span of human history, except for the dinosaurs. That part's inaccurate. Anyway, 12,000 years ago, humans entered the Neolithic Period, which was defined by agriculture and early farming. But even still, it wasn't until the 17th century when humans began adopting a diet that looked anything like our version of 3 meals a day. When you look at the frequency of our meals, along with the portion sizes and added sugars and fats we've come to expect as part of our diet, it's no surprise so many people in North America struggle with weight. At least that's what I'm telling myself because according to my DEXA scan, I'm obese. According to the American Council on Exercise, anything above 25% body fat for men is considered obese. My score came in at 27%. And I got the scan during a time when I was running 30 to 40 kilometers a week and staying consistent with the gym, but here I am, holding the majority of my orange fat in my hips and waist, a little bit around the shoulders and arms, and a little bit on the inside of my legs. All of this, I think, is caused by a lack of portion control in my diet and an overindulgence in unhappy snacking. Still, these results feel like a gut punch. So I asked my friend Kim, who's a personal trainer, how concerned I should be about these results and what I can do to maintain a healthy weight after this challenge is over.
So I did a calculation of your BMI, which is just your weight to height ratio. And I found out that it's 24.5 kilograms over meter squared, which is in the normal range for your age. Your total body fat is high, but it's more on the lower end of so you have the normal range and it's creeping up closer to the end range of your normal. When you look at where it's distributed, the part that you do want to focus on is actually your hip and waist. So it would be the android and the gynoid area. So trying to decrease fat mass on your hip and your waist. So a good one would be doing interval training. You have moments where you're doing quick bouts of work and then you have a rest period, and that just gives your body some time to recover, and then you go back in again. And that helps with your energy level, and it's not going to tire you as much on the days that you're fasting.
After chatting with Kim, I felt like I had a real game plan for the second half of this challenge. Unfortunately, there was just one problem. I got really sick. For the next few days, all I did was sleep and watch movies. To try and get better, I started eating at least one meal a day, usually involving apples, oranges, and other vitamin-heavy foods. Getting sick this past week has been a really frustrating experience, and not just for the usual getting sick isn't fun reasons. With this challenge, I really wanted to collect the best data sets that I could, and losing 7 days out of a 30-day challenge really, it messes everything up. I haven't been able to do any cardio the past 7 days, and despite losing 9.5 pounds in my first 2 weeks, the last 7 days haven't changed anything. Thankfully though, I am starting to feel better, and my hope is to get back to the gym and to cardio tomorrow and continue on doing the 36-hour fasts. I just want to finish these last 9 days as strong as I can. When I finally get back to the gym, I want to pay specific attention to my abs, lower back, and obliques, taking Kim's advice to try and build muscle in the areas that are high in fat. Of course, I'm still maintaining the exercises I do for the rest of my body as well. Because my health still isn't back at 100% yet, I can only do limited cardio. So I'm doing 5 rounds of intervals, 45 seconds, as hard as I can go, followed by 90 seconds rest at reduced speed. Hopefully my throat's feeling better really soon. On days that I can eat, I've started making myself a morning oatmeal that contains vanilla protein and mixed berries. I throw in a little cashew milk, and I actually kind of love it. When it's time for my second body scan, I've lost 14 pounds in 30 days. But the question I still want to answer is how much of that weight loss was fat? 9.5 pounds. I lost 9.5 pounds of fat with this routine and cut my percentage of body fat down by 4% in 4 weeks, with the majority of those losses coming from my waist and trunk region. Perhaps the only disappointment from these results was the almost 3 pounds of lean mass I also lost, which is pretty consistent with what I would have expected from a calorie-restricted diet. So it doesn't look like alternate day fasting is a magic bullet for preserving muscle mass at the same time you're trying to burn fat. But in my opinion anyway, trying to stay consistent with a fasting regimen was much easier than staying consistent with a calorie-restricted or crash diet that involved constantly monitoring your portions and making sure you stay below a daily target. I found this routine not only decreased my appetite over time, it also still allowed me the freedom to enjoy a pizza or popcorn on occasion without compromising my progress. The one exception to this dietary freedom though is with the first meal you eat at the end of a fast period. For that meal, it's really important that you're eating some type of complex carbs that take time for your body to break down and convert into glucose. Things like whole grains, black beans, sweet potato, or quinoa are all great. If you start your day with white bread and a lot of fruit, those foods will quickly break down into sugar and prevent your body from burning fat. So that first meal is really important. Based on just my own experience, I found fasting to be a really valuable tool that I honestly wish I'd started using a lot earlier in life. But going forward, I am gonna look into a less extreme fasting regimen, probably something closer to intermittent fasting or even just modifying my fast days so they include some form of eating, something like rice cakes and a protein shake, or a black bean burrito with sweet potato and broccoli. Either way, after getting my DEXA scan, I know I have more work to do, and I'm gonna continue utilizing fasting to help as I go forward. I wanna thank NordVPN for sponsoring this video. So something I love doing at the gym is listening to audiobooks or podcasts, specifically podcasts that cover news and world events. And nothing has made me more aware of the need for a VPN than the nearly endless stories of misuse and incompetence from big tech companies when it comes to collecting and handling user data. NordVPN protects the data that is sent from your computer with military-grade encryption so no one can spy on what you're doing. And it also provides an extra layer of defense against things like identity theft, something I found out the hard way 6 months ago when my online bank account was hacked and I was advised to get a VPN for all my devices. And I am happy to say since then, all of my accounts have been secure. Right now, if you go to nordvpn.com/goalguys, you'll get 70% off a 3-year plan. And if you use the promo code GOALGUYS, you'll also get an additional 30 days free. NordVPN has thousands of servers across 60 countries that allow you to protect up to 6 devices simultaneously. So you'll be secure on your phone, tablet, and computer all at once. Take control of your internet experience today with NordVPN. Thank you guys so much for watching.